I'm going to welcome everybody to AMovieGuy.com. I am on the phone here with the fantastic Barbara Crampton, the legendary Barbara Crampton.
Oh my gosh, thanks for that intro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually like to start my questions sort of starting at the beginning of your career or beginning of the person's career who I'm interviewing. And, you know, you got your start in soap operas and then with Brian De Palma in Body Double, but soon after that you get your foot into the door with horror and genre films. Was that the direction of your career in movies that you wanted to be in, or was that fate and opportunity taking hold?
Oh yeah. No, I don't think, you know, any time you plan for something, it happens the way you think it's going to happen. We have this image in our mind of where we're going to be or where we're going to go, and I think life just takes you on its own path. And some things I think you can plan for and make happen, but more often than not, it's the surprises that really take you on a ride through the adventure of your career, and that certainly happened with me. I didn't expect that I was going to work in horror movies, and looking back, glad that I did. Didn't even realize I was a horror actress until I came back with You're Next, and then I went, oh, after I had been gone from the business for a while, and I came back and I went, oh, I guess this is what I do. This is who I am. And, you know, I sort of belonged to this club, and I didn't even know I was a member, but I was already a member, and it sort of dawned on me, this is what I do. So, you know, initially when I started out, I just really wanted to act, and that's all I wanted to do. And working in soap operas was amazing because I got to work consistently and earn a good living, and then working in genre films was super fun and cool, and then, you know, taking time away to have a family, and then coming back and working in genre films again, and also being a producer has been super fun and rewarding and exciting for me as well.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that break you took in 2011. Up until 2011, did you even have a moment where you were like, I don't think I want to act at all anymore?
Well, I think it was before that, because I came back in 2011.
Yeah.
So it was like around 2006 and 7. I wasn't really working. I hadn't been working for a while, really, and I guess since, you know, really my son was born in 2001. I worked just a very little bit for maybe the next 10 years. And it's not that I didn't want to work. I just wasn't getting the phone calls. And I hit a period in my career where I just wasn't getting the work. So I wasn't going to beat my head against the door that wouldn't open.
Yeah.
And I just concentrated on my family and raising them and doing that, and thought, well, something else will happen in my life. I'll have another career, do something else. And then I got a call out of the blue to be in You're Next, and I realized how much I loved acting and how fun it was, and kind of tried to rededicate myself to the genre, to, you know, coming back to acting. And luckily people still remembered who I was, and they wanted me to work again. So
yeah,
I just started another chapter of my career to be able to do that over the past 10 years.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of even hit, I mean, I guess you'd call it another peak, because you keep kind of, because you make We Are Still Here, and it seemed to remind everybody that that you're like an amazing leading lady in horror, and now you come out with Jakob's Wife this year. But do you ever want to be selfish? Because you sort of, you seem to be such a great team player in the genre. Do you ever want to be selfish and say, like, no, every time I'm the lead, the movies are awesome and I'm doing an awesome job? You know?
No, that's why I just love to work, and I love to help other people realize their dreams, and that's why I take smaller roles in some of these cooler movies with Ricky Bates Jr. I mean, who wouldn't want an opportunity to work with him? His movies are so cool, and he's so artistic and so creative, and has a singular, unique voice that I don't think anybody else is doing the kind of movies he's doing. And just recently worked on a Brandon Christensen film, super super host, and I, have a relatively small part in that, and I just loved his other movies. I love Stillborn, I love Z, and he's the coolest guy. He can make a movie on a shoestring and shoot it himself, write it himself, and he has friends that he's working with a lot, but a lot of these guys and girls, collaborating with their friends and making these movies on their own, I find that really exciting, and I think these guys are the voice of the future, so of course I want to work with them, and I don't need to be the lead. In fact, many times in working on producing and developing a couple of projects, people have said to me, well, if we do this project, you could play this part. And I said, yeah, but how about so-and-so, who hasn't worked in a while, who I think is awesome? I'll take this other part, and so-and-so could have this part. So I'm working on, getting some of my other contemporaries in movies and showcasing them in a way that I think they deserve to be.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. It's kind of like the next question I was even going to ask you, because people would call you a scream queen. I kept seeing that moniker of scream queen. Is that a silly label? Does that mean anything to you, or is it something that you want to sort of pass on to other actresses that you work with and hope hey, we need to sort of keep the horror genre, in that sort of angle of being a great format for women in film?
Mm-hmm. Well, in 2015, I wrote an article for Birth Movies Death.
Yeah.
Called "Don't Call Me a Scream Queen."
Okay.
So if you Google that,
I should have.
It'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll see that I talked about that term as being a little bit old-fashioned and not really keeping up with the times, and not, being sort of reductive and not giving full body and understanding to what it is women do in the genre.
Yeah.
I do think the term's a little antiquated, and not that I take offense to the term at all, because I know people use it as a term of endearment for most of us.
Right.
But I don't think it's indicative of the range that women have portrayed over the past number of years on screen in the horror genre. So I just don't think it's as fitting as it could be.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else you want to call us, but I just wanted people to take a look at that term.
For sure.
And think more deeply about it.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I love that, because it's not something that you can just continue to put out there. It's just kind of silly after a certain point. So now we're talking.
Sorry to interrupt. We do have to wrap up.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
That's okay. One more question, if I can.
Yeah.
So you're in.
Sure.
So you're in King Night, which is sort of happening at Fantasia Fest. And I loved your role in this. You kind of get a little moment to scream at your son in a way, like in a hallucinogenic dream. Talk about your approach to that role and how.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Was that fun to just be able to do these quick scenes or do these parts and be the domineering mother?
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting movie for Ricky Bates to do, and just examining who we are, why we do the things we do, and reconciling our past and our future and our present, and how does that all come together. And for Matthew Gray Kugler's character to look into his past and confront his mother again and see if anything's changed, which it hasn't. So you get to understand more about his character and his journey through understanding his relationship with his mom. And I do think also in keeping with the whole theme of the movie, you get to understand why, even in a smaller sense, why Ruth is the way she is and where she comes from and what her history is. And so I think it supports the bigger theme of the film. And I always welcome the opportunity to play sort of a compromised character, not so nice, a little potentially, just not as warm, and then really understanding why that person is the way they are. And also getting to be in a hallucinogenic dream, of Matthew Gray Kugler's character and what that would look like. I mean, that's just very freeing, sort of fun, crazy. That was a crazy scene to shoot, and it took us all night to do. It was just, was just super fun. But I think in the small amount of screen time I have, Ricky did create a full-bodied character, which, was really fun for me.
Yeah.
And I like supporting him and other young filmmakers who were sort of in the beginnings of their career. Ricky's been around for, less than 10 years, really, but just about 10 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And, so I love all these younger guys and girls that are coming up, and, Gigi Saul Guerrero, for another example, working with somebody like her, who's an emerging voice. I just, I want to support these young filmmakers as much as I can.
Yeah, we're doing such a great job. I'm a number one fan of Jacob's wife, and I'm just
thank you.
Congrats about the year. It's just been great for you.
Yeah.
Very much deserved.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks, Barbara. We'll talk next time.
All right.
Yep.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye-bye.